Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in. It is another installment of the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand, guys. There we go. I like to hear. All right, we want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle, because it was the original Green Turtle's Ravens Wrap Show, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill here, the great folks that help us out for the show each and every week, Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. Coming up, we're going to recap the 24-10 win over the Cleveland Browns. Also, we've got a lot of different topics to talk about, including a big change for the Ravens when it comes to training camp. Also, we'll preview the upcoming game against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm Mike Bradley at 105.7 The Fan up in Baltimore. To my left, back, healthy, sounds 10 times better, editor-in-chief of Ravens247.com, at least for now, Tony Lombardi. we'll have some info on that as well. And, you know, I'm from the Stallion Sports Show. He hosts a ton of golf shows, OC Local as well. And we've got, our buddy Bobby Vermillion with us. Bobby, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be back, Michael.
Well, now, here's three things, and I usually would never start a show like this, but I did this on my radio show last Saturday. Here's three things that we will not be talking about on the show today. That would be the Ravens losing to a subpar 500 team coming off a big victory. Also, an imbalance of pass to run and not getting Ray Rice the ball enough. That certainly was not the case against the Cleveland Browns, Tony. Ray Rice got the ball plenty, and boy, did he make use of it. Over 200 yards rushing. We absolutely gashed the Cleveland Browns defense, which was 29th against the run coming in.
You know, some of the better games that the Ravens have had this year, and you're right, Mike, it's almost we don't have anything to talk about with those three things off the board. But some of the better games that the Ravens have had this year. Right. So the better things they've done, or better games they've played, it seems like when they've attacked the other team's weaknesses. And you look at the Cleveland Browns going into that game, 29th going in against the run, number 1 against the pass. And I looked at those numbers going into the game, and I thought, you know what? I think maybe they're number 1 against the pass because they're so bad against the run. Why should you even throw the ball against these guys? And I think Cam Cameron saw the same thing. And they just, like you said, Mike, they gashed the Cleveland Browns, and it was nice to see.
I was just going to say, Bobby, it's one thing to know that coming in that it's a bad run defense, but it's another thing to go ahead and execute it, and they did the entire game. Not only Ray Rice, but Ricky Williams.
Well, I think you're right, Mike. And, it's been a couple weeks since I've been able to be on the show, and I will say this. We talked about this early in the season, how our offensive line is going to take some time for them to gel. We've seen the difference in that line when Ben Grubbs has able to come back, and it's really made a huge difference, not only from the line together, but also for McKinney. I mean, he's playing really, really well right now. I think that's been a huge difference, and that's why the Ravens are able to run the football. We struggled against Seattle, we struggled against Jacksonville, but I think this line is starting to play better, and we said it earlier in the year, if this line can get some chemistry, this could be a dangerous team moving into the playoffs.
Yeah, and the segue from what Bob was saying, too, it's not just the line, I don't think. I think there's some patience that Ray Rice exhibited in this game that he did not in the previous game against the San Francisco 49ers. If anybody saw that sound effects show, the special sound effects show on NFL Network, you saw a little bit of exchange going on between Vonta Leach and Ray Rice. I think that in this game, he allowed that blocking to flush through, and then he was able to get a lot of those backside yards that is typical of zone blocking schemes.
And Ray Rice has said this week, I finally, I did a better job of following Vonta Leach. He's an all-pro fullback. He said, I'm following his lead a little bit better. He certainly did so to the tune of 29 carries, 204 yards, and a touchdown. Ricky Williams as well, a nice change of pace back, 16 rushes, 76 yards. He also had a touchdown in the affair. And, a very important game for the Ravens, not only because of the fact that, again, they haven't done well against subpar 500 teams this year, especially on the road, 3 losses coming in. But you look at this AFC North, and again, you've got the Steelers, no surprise, they're nipping at your heels. The Bengals as well. The Bengals and Steelers played each other over the weekend, and the Steelers won that pretty handily. But nonetheless, the Ravens have to keep pace, and the good news is they control their own destiny.
And they do. And you look around the NFL, no matter which division you're talking about, when you're dealing with divisional opponents, it always seems like they play closer than their records would indicate.
Right.
And that was the case with, the game against the Cleveland Browns. I don't think the score indicated how badly the Ravens beat them because they struggled a little bit in the red zone, and Billy Cundiff missed a few field goals. But I'm sure we'll talk about that later in the program. But when you have these divisional rivals, you got to win your divisional games. And right now, the Ravens are 4-0 in their division.
Yep.
You got to finish. I mean, the first drive, the Ravens went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it. And I think if there's one negative thing out of that game, there's been a couple times this year actually that the Ravens weren't able to convert on the short distance, maybe 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and that really kind of concerns you a little bit. Billy Cundiff missing the field goals. You got to say the conditions played a big factor in that. But I really think the Ravens again are getting that chemistry together at the right time. And I think if you're a Ravens fan right now, you have to be happy and looking ahead, and you hope the Steelers are going to make a little boo-boo here and mess up and lose a game so we can all breathe a little bit easier.
I'll tell you something that stuck out real quickly for me in the game. Matt Burke goes out for a couple of plays, goes to the locker room. Here you plug in former Pro Bowler, 5-time Pro Bowler from the Cowboys, Andre Gerard. It speaks to the depth of this team, not only offensively, we know defensively as well. More about the Ravens and the Browns coming up. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
What's going on? We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out! It's terrible, man!
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
And welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. The Ravens 24-10 winners over the Cleveland Browns. They improved to 9-3 on the season and remain atop the AFC North. And of course, the Steelers also have a similar record. But again, I love every week saying that, because of the fact that we, beat them twice this year.
You can say it again.
We have the tiebreaker, yeah. So it feels good about that. The Ravens racking up 448 yards in offense in this game, 79 plays to 56 for Cleveland, 15 more minutes on the ground. And I kind of felt like, guys, that no matter the score, because you talked about in the last segment, Tony, division games, sometimes, you could throw out the record, a lot of times you could throw out the records, they're still close because of, how many times you play them and they have intimate knowledge of you, vice versa. I felt like if we controlled the line of scrimmage and time of possession, even if it ended up being a 13-0 or a 10-0 game at halftime or something like that, we feel like we'd be in control of it.
Yeah, I don't think personally, I never doubted the outcome of that game from the start. The Ravens were just driving. The first play from scrimmage, 30-yard run from Ray Rice, that set the tone, I think, right away, and it said that the Ravens were going to run the ball right down their throat. And when you have an offensive line, Bobby, that's controlling the line of scrimmage, usually you never get that threatening feeling from the opponent. You feel like you're in the driver's seat, and it's up to you. Yeah. Unless you give it away, you're going to win that football game. It was
Colt McCoy and the Cleveland Browns, so I don't think Ravens fans were concerned after they didn't convert on that first possession. But again, you can't do that against good football teams. And a good example of that, if you watch the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, Cincinnati had got the kickoff, drove right down the field, had a chance to score. Actually, they did score and had a penalty, got it called back. Then had, I think, 2 more penalties. Tried to kick a field goal and then ends up getting blocked. Pittsburgh goes down and scores and goes up 7-0. That game is completely different if Cincinnati scores 7 points there and end up being a blowout by Pittsburgh. But, against a good team, when you drive the ball down the field, you've got to convert. You've got to put points on the board.
We talked about how good the running game is. Joe Flacco in this game, 10 of 23, 158 yards, no touchdowns, but no interceptions. But, I thought he was efficient enough. He made enough plays. He wasn't really asked to do a whole lot. And really, when you look at it, Bolden had a couple drops. I know there was a 3rd down play where he was throwing to Dennis Pitta, who slipped on the route. Also, he made a touch or a throw in the end zone to Torrey Smith, which he put on a dime. It was just well defended, and the defender shielded Smith so he couldn't see it. Also, I thought he put on a dime and passed to Lee Evans, who just if he had a little bit more room would have had 2 feet in bounds. So, you add those up, and he's more like 16.
Even that slant to Lee Evans
that
Joe Hayden defended, it was textbook, defensive execution.
Right, so at that point you're talking about, almost 16 of 23, and we're not even talking about that. So, again, it may not show up in the stat sheet like he had a good game, but I thought he threw the ball fairly well in this one.
And he really wasn't asked to do a lot, Tony, because they didn't need to. They were running the ball so well. No reason to take any chances, particularly with those conditions, and just give it to Ray Rice and let everything take care of itself. I mean, Ricky Williams, as you mentioned, Mike, had a great game. But you really did feel like if the Ravens had to pass the ball, they could have. I mean, they didn't have problems converting with their passing game for the most part, even in those conditions. And I think that was pretty impressive. Mike, you talked about the drops. That was unfortunate. But I think some of the games earlier, that when we threw the ball a lot, that's going to bode well if we do have to come back. And we saw that in the Arizona game. I think with Lee Evans coming back and getting healthy, you mentioned that. We just missed barely on that play. I mean, his foot was just barely out of bounds. I think that could be a big addition. Obviously, you're seeing him worked more into the lineup along with Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden and the 2 young tight ends. I think the Ravens passing offense has a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and you take a look at Cleveland, they were number 1 against the pass coming in, but again, a lot of that had to do with the fact that they're so bad against the run that a lot of teams rush heavily against them and just lay off the pass. But you're right, I felt like we could make plays. And, Joe Hayden is an outstanding corner, I'll say that, and he gives Anquan Bolden fits and some of our other receivers. But outside of that, they're starting strong safety. TJ Ward was out. Mike Adams from Delaware, average safety. And on the other side, you had Brown, formerly of Philadelphia. So I wasn't really worried that if we had to go to the air that we could do that and do it successfully. So
to me, it almost seemed like Cleveland was just trying to keep the game close. Mm-hmm. If you keep it close, maybe you can force a turnover and change the complexion of the game and maybe steal a win. But the Ravens weren't going to have any of that. And when you think about the vibe in that game, it just, like I said before, it just seemed from the start there was no way that the Browns were going to have any chance of beating the Ravens.
We talked offense here defensively. Again, game number 3 now without Ray Lewis in the lineup. And you talk about inside linebackers stepping up. We talked about Albert McClellan last week against the San Francisco 49ers on Thanksgiving. Donnell Ellerbe in the lineup with 7 tackles. Jameel McLean at the other inside linebacker spot stepping up. He also had 7 tackles. Again, Ray means a lot to this defense, but there's a lot of depth here, Bobby, on this defense, and a lot of talent. So we like him in the lineup, but if he's out, we can still get the job done.
Well, I think these guys are playing with a little bit of chip on their shoulder, and it's kind of a deal where they're trying to impress their big brother. Raise the face, obviously, not only of the defense, but of the organization, and these guys want to step up in this situation. And, one of the good things, too, is if you look on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of young players are playing well. Pernell McPhee, it was a 5th-round draft choice, I believe, this year. He's played a lot of football and really getting pressure on the quarterback. Jimmy Smith, obviously, with the injury, now is healthy and had an interception this week. So from that standpoint, Ladarius Webb, Mike Preston talked about him being a possible Pro Bowl candidate, if not this year, possibly next. So that's a guy that, the fact that the Ravens have some good young players, I think is good to look forward to as well.
All right, we'll pick up the conversation more about the Ravens, Browns, and lots of other topics to get into. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. I want to thank our sponsors, the original Green Turtle, of course, the folks here at the Blue Ox. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Our friends at Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, Bobby Vermillion, John Garrigan with us for a few segments as well. And I know we were earlier in the week, we were at the American Cancer Society's charity runway model show here at the convention center, and so I forgot about that. I got a few tips about doing a little bit better job on the runway, but it was my first time, so I'll know better for next year.
John has his Christmas shirt on.
So wait a minute, you two were on the catwalk?
Yeah, I was on the catwalk. Yeah. I wouldn't exactly say shaking my stuff, but
did you get any cat calls?
Not that I heard. You know what? I was so in tune that I didn't even hear the lady talk. Every model.
Let me see your catwalk face.
No, I can't.
Was that it?
Hands in pocket. Open the jacket a little bit, showing the sweater and all that.
You were like moving like Jagger.
Yeah, moves like Jagger. Yeah, that's right. I get a little Maroon 5 on that. Yeah, so it's just something to add to the resume and made for great radio material the other morning.
I don't think you should put that on your resume.
Was it made for TV though?
No, thank God. I don't think there are any cameras or any. Hopefully not.
There's always a camera. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to scour that. I'll have to watch out. But
it was a room full of women. So it was.
There was cameras there. Sure.
Yeah, no hotel keys were thrown up on stage or anything. But John and his daughter.
That's not what he said.
John did a great job. John had his daughter walking down, and she was cute, all dressed up and all that. It was really good.
If you find screaming kids cute, then she
did all right. She did all right. But
she was very cute.
Well, the Ravens 24-10 victors over the Cleveland Browns, and guys, really good offensive performance, really good defensive performance. The only two things that I could nitpick a little bit, guys, is I thought that a few times the fourth drive of the game down in the red zone, I was taking a look with the time on the clock. I thought the Ravens could have mixed in a few more runs down there. They had like 3 timeouts. They could have used and mixed in a run or two. Also on their fifth drive, I thought they could have run the ball. They threw the ball a lot there, but outside of that, it's tough to nitpick. But the kicking game, Billy Cundiff, he's had a few misses this year. We know he's not good from 50 plus, but we know inside of 50 he's pretty money, Tony. He had 2 misses today. He's had a few in some previous games. Is this something to worry about or just something to watch? How do you view it?
Well, I think it's something to watch, for sure. I don't know if it's anything to worry about just yet. The conditions were pretty bad. It's in the open end of the stadium in Cleveland, which the wind's swirling and whatnot.
Yep.
The weather was bad. But I have noticed one thing about Billy Cundiff. It seems like when he's on the right hash mark, he seems to struggle a little bit more than when he's on the left hash mark. So that'll be something the Ravens ought to think about when they're trying to position themselves for a field goal. But like you said, it's something to watch. I don't think it's something to panic about yet. But if he starts continuing this, it's just like a golfer who can't get off the tee, and Bobby knows this better than anybody else.
Right,
if he can't get off the tee, it starts to play mind games with you, and then you start to change what you've done well in the past, and before you know it, you're all screwed up.
Yeah, if you get those bad thoughts going through your head, you're in trouble, and you hope that Cundiff doesn't get into that situation. But he has struggled from over 50, but he's been pretty consistent throughout his career with the Ravens. So he's definitely got all the talent in the world. But again, I think that's a great point, Tony. You don't want to get him thinking and second guessing about that kick, because it's like a putter. If he doesn't think he's going to make it, he's not going to make the putt. Like a kicker doesn't think he's going to make it, it's probably going to be wide right or hook it to the left. And hopefully that's not in Billy Cundiff's head right now.
Yeah. John?
It's probably why I can't kick and I can't golf. Same thing. It's all in my head. It goes to show how well the Ravens played, though. We're talking about Cundiff and a couple missed kicks. It was terrible conditions out there. Now, there is something I would like to say, I would like to pick at. and that's Ray Rice for the second week in a row.
I knew this was coming. We talked about this.
I can't wait. I just can't wait to. I mean, look, here's the deal. The first quarter in that game, it was pretty apparent the Ravens were going to have a special day running the football.
Yeah.
He had 70 yards himself in the first quarter. I mean, he should have been going back to the huddle and telling his offensive linemen, we're getting into the Hall of Fame today, boys. You know, you should feel the vibe, the mojo was happening. He was on the verge of breaking one at any given run. And why he continues to take himself out of the game, he can't run two or three plays.
It's a contract here, John. It's a contract here.
Two or three plays in a row. Boom, I'm out of here.
I will say this. You know, there was a game, and I think it was 2 weeks ago, where he had the long run, and he tried. They left him in the game, and he tried to score, and he had nothing left in the tank because he had just run for 60 or 70.
And hit the treadmill.
And Wilbert Montgomery, his running back coach, said to him, Ray, when you get a long run, come out of the game. Put Ricky in the game and let him finish. Look, he's in good shape. But, you know, it's not easy to run. He's in good shape, but it's not easy to run.
He ran for 70 yards. He's laying on the field, and he's waving for Ricky to come in. He couldn't get himself up off the ground.
Here, real quick.
45 seconds all I got? Oh, it's going to take longer than 45 seconds. We go to the next. I got to come back to this.
We'll talk more about the conditioning of Ray Rice. We're going to question the conditioning of Ray Rice.
Yes.
Really.
What else is there to talk about?
By the way, though, speaking of we're getting back to special teams, though, Ladarius Webb with a punt return for a touchdown for the most part.
Cleveland only had 9 guys on the field.
Yeah, well,
I'm serious.
Well, that's Cleveland for you. Josh Cribbs, we kept him in check for the most part. Though I thought the kick return yards a little bit more, but hey, no touchdowns from him. So anyway, we'll pick it up. Lots more to get to here. It is the Ravens Wrap Show as we nitpick on Speech TV at Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
Come see us at Blue Rock.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Clearly.
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
Looking for the plant.
Welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, Bobby Vermillion, and John Garrett. Hey, real quick, by the way, and I make mention from time to time of the local high school teams. Congratulations to Indian River High School. From
Absolutely, yeah.
12-0. Delaware State champs in Division II. They defeat Caravel last Saturday evening, I believe, up in Dover at Del State. So congrats to them. And I know Coach Bunting was on the sideline. If he had just stayed one more year, might have had that state championship. But Jamie Jarman and the gang, congratulations to all the kids there. Hard work and bring home the championship in the Henlopen Conference. All right, guys, we were talking, we were nitpicking a little bit. Go ahead. Let's pick up. You were talking about Ray Rice a little bit.
So let's say that the Cam calls a play, and he gets out, and Joe calls the play in the huddle, and it's just a series of nines. All the receivers are running just flat out 9 routes, okay? Sprint down the field 40 yards fast as you can. Then you have to jog back to the huddle. I don't see Torrey Smith or Anquan Bolden coming back, hey, I need a break. You know what I mean?
Because you know why? Because they didn't run the ball 4 times in a row before that.
Four times in a row?
Yeah.
I like to see Ray Rice run it 4 times in a row.
And it's also
different. He touched the ball 4 times, got it to the 20, and came out.
It's also different when somebody's chasing you and you have the ball in your hand and you're just running a 9.
How about I feel it? I got 70 yards. We're going to break Adrian Peterson's record. We're going to the Hall of Fame. We're going to be stars. We're going to be what happens?
It's not about the stats.
Look,
come on. Anybody that's played sports that isn't competitive, you got to be kidding me.
Well, if you're
you don't want to be the best ever, the best ever.
And now you're questioning Ray Rice's conditioning and you're questioning his competitiveness.
Come on.
I don't think there's a more competitive guy on the offensive side of the ball than Ray Rice. So I think your point is way out of line on that. I'm sorry, John.
Well, I have an inside scoop.
And who doesn't want to score? All right, we need to give
I was just
1 yard.
A publicist that Ray Rice is working with just sent me an email today. And they have a new campaign for this energy thing that he's promoting right now.
Was it an energy drink or something?
And in the tagline, you're going to see billboards in Baltimore about this, and it's not a drink, but it says, how does Ray Rice get his energy? He takes a sheet.
Takes a sheet?
Takes a sheet. and the product is sheets. It's a tablet that you put in.
Maybe you should give him one.
The convenience store on infringement.
It's supposed to give him energy. So how's he get energy? He takes a sheet.
I think he runs and has to take a sheet. Because he's on the sidelines a lot. I don't know where he's going to get a towel.
It's like Nick Novak. I was just going to say, Nick Novak, former Maryland kicker for San Diego, filling in this year. And,
he takes a leak, and Ray Rice takes a sheet.
And they said because he missed a kick to win the game, I think against Denver, they said, well, maybe he slipped on his shoe because he got a little on it.
I'm serious about that. There's going to be billboards, Ray Rice, take a sheet.
Only from the insider right here. We get that.
There you go.
That's a nasty sheet. A rice sheet.
And you know what? I don't think he gives a sheet.
Well, you know what?
I'll take the sheet to the back.
I think John got beat up a couple of weeks ago on his blog when he talked about.
Oh, this is for real.
Joe Flacco.
He's been doing this.
Now you're going to take more heat on this for Ray Rice.
I'm right. The bottom line is he takes himself out of the game far too much.
All right.
But he carried the ball 29 times.
So he carried the ball 39 times. I don't see Adrian Peterson wanting to come out of the game. I don't see.
Well, Adrian Peterson, they don't go to the playoffs.
Yeah. He's also not in a contract here either. I think that may have a little something to do with it. Anyway, guys, let's switch gears and we'll have to talk about. I don't know, because we're talking about Ray Rice here.
When you get down inside the 5, don't you want to score? Isn't that just part of your DNA as a football player that I want to score? Not
The faster you score, the faster you get off the field and take a sheet.
Isn't that better for his Isn't that better for his contract? The more touchdowns he scores. What's that? And he needs a break. I'll get you to the 5. I need a break now.
Hey, how about Tyrod Taylor getting in the game?
Yeah,
that was a weird spot to put him. Why not put him between the 20s? I haven't liked it. I didn't like it down there at all.
We'll see. He may mix in a little bit more. We'll have to see. Wait a minute. Did we run a reverse in that game?
Yes.
And it didn't work, did it?
Who did you think of right away?
Who did I think of?
Dante Stallworth.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but I was just thinking that we had 2 back-to-back successful end-arounds against Seattle. I was like, that's it for the year. We're not going to run another one successfully. There's no way it's going to happen.
Well, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well,
maybe Cam Cameron needs to take a sheet.
Hey, I didn't see.
Or change some of his play sheets. Whatever. We're taking this for the whole gamut, folks.
Who ran the end-around?
Torrey Smith, I believe.
Did he need a break?
Well, he didn't go anywhere. No,
he didn't run any more reverses because he was tired.
Yeah, because he ran from -2 yards. That's why he got negative yardage on that.
But he had to run from one side of the field to the other. I guess he was tired.
I can't believe we've spent almost an entire segment talking about Ray Rice.
It's unbelievable.
And his lack of production.
Unbelievable. Guy runs for 205 yards, and you're gonna badger him.
I want 300.
They do pay Ricky Williams a couple.
Well, I want to be 6'8", but that ain't happening.
Yeah, he could have sitting on the sideline.
We've got more to talk about. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. We'll be back.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back in. It is the Ravens Drive Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, the strongest Ravens affiliate on the Eastern Shore, 93.5 The Beach. And, well, we do...
Time out. I need a break. Go back to commercial.
Well, the good news is, no, hold that up. We got a prop here. Hold that up. Bruce brought that a few weeks ago after the Seattle game. The good news is that Ray Rice has been found for the last 2 weeks now, and hopefully won't go missing on any milk or orange juice cartons from now to the rest of the season. So plenty of carries for him in that one. Guys, some big news this week, though, I wanted to talk about, and this affects the fans to a great deal. The Ravens announcing that training camp will no longer be held at McDaniel College in Westminster, but instead to Owings Mills. And I've got the press release that was sent out, and here's some of the points that they made about making this decision, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't. They said facilities at the team's Owings Mills facility are conducive to the best practices, especially in bad weather, when the team can quickly move inside without losing the limited practice time. That's true. McDaniel only has a gym, and that's very limited in what you can do. You certainly can't have padded practices on a hardwood floor. The team's state-of-the-art weight room, conditioning machines, and medical training areas are significantly better. They've also said they've outgrown their hotel. There aren't enough rooms for their players, coaches, and staff, although it hasn't been a problem the last 3 years. I don't know how the numbers have gotten that much bigger. They also said that technology requirements, including computer and video, have changed dramatically in recent years. Capacity at the hotel is not compatible with team needs. They also mentioned the new CBA limits to 1 practice per day and the efficiency provided in Owings Mills with space, fields, video, etc. Look, Tony, I will buy the situation where if you get a lot of rain during the training camp, you know, you can't move inside of a gym and get a whole lot done when you can move into the bubble. I get that. I'll buy the medical and the weight room. But the technology stuff, when you have iPads, and so what if they have to work out of a trailer? Big deal. Training camp's supposed to be tough. It's supposed to bring a team together with chemistry. So I'll buy a little bit of it. Most of it I'm not. I'm obviously a little bit disappointed in this within the context of a fan. Obviously, Super Bowls are more important, but this is a big deal to the fans, though.
Just got to say it, you know, the reason that the hotel is all jacked up, there was just nowhere to take a sheet. Just the bottom line. No, all seriousness, this thing really, in my opinion, boils down to what happened with the CBA. Okay. And with the CBA, you're limited in terms of the number of practices you can have during training camp, right, and therefore you're limited with the amount of time you have with the players. So they feel, as an organization, to field a better team come September, that they need more time at their own facility where there's more things that they can do. The technology's better, as you pointed out before. The gym's better. If they have to go indoors, that's better.
Well, they have a field there, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just the facility. Now, what they lose is that interaction with the fan. Now, I can tell you that the players prefer to be at McDaniel because when they make a diving catch at Owings Mills, you don't hear anything.
Right,
it sounds just like it doesn't here.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're out there in Westminster, you hear the cheers and everybody goes crazy. So
it's kind of almost like a game day atmosphere, as best as
6,000 fans are cheering at the top of their lungs. So the players like it better, but I think it's because of this CBA, and they're trying to maximize the time that they have on the field, and they feel that they can do it better at Owings Mills than they can McDaniel College. Now, I will say this, that I think we haven't heard the last of all this because I think there's some things that the Ravens are going to introduce and announce in terms of some programs that will be new traditions. And they're losing an old one, but there's going to be some new traditions, I think, established in terms of, I mean, there's talk about here in Ocean City expanding what they do down here during that parade. So that's one thing.
And they're talking about having a practice or two at M&T Bank Stadium as they have.
And they're also talking about doing some things in Westminster as well. So all these things have not been set up and announced yet, but my guess is that when when you combine the productivity at the practice facility at Owings Mills with the things that they're going to do in the community, I think people will be okay with the final result.
You know, I know it couldn't be it couldn't be an easy decision for the Ravens. You know, it starts with the top. Steve Bisciotti has an affinity for Westminster. I mean, if you know the history, you know, that's where he first met John Unitas as a boy with his dad. He has fond memories of Westminster and spending his summers there and days there. So I think he realizes the connection and how important that is between the fans as well as, the organization. And so I think for them to make this decision, as you alluded to, I think a lot has to do with the CBA as well as the positives of going to Owings Mills. They do call it the castle for a reason. Yeah. And I think the players, it's going to be a lot easier to prepare for the season with the new rules, with the CBA. So I do believe, though, that because Steve wants that connection with the fans, and he knows how important it is, that there will be a lot of things, as you just mentioned, within the community, so the players stay in touch with the fans. I think that's going to be important.
John, 60 seconds.
I just think,
and not about Ray Rice.
Ray Rice is going to be on a treadmill.
I just hope there are better treadmills than
I got to tell you,
maybe the air conditioning in the gym is better. No sweating allowed in the CBA.
I got to tell you, though, from a media standpoint, I know some fans may say, well, you don't care because you still get to go to practice. Let me tell you, the vantage points at Owings Mills for the media are not that good.
They suck.
Out there. Yeah, they do suck. So I'm not looking forward to having it at Owings Mills. I loved it just as much in Westminster as anybody. I didn't mind, it was worth the drive and getting up early to do that, battling traffic. So it is what it is, new traditions, and at least to see the Ravens are trying to do something to counter the move back to Owings Mills and training at their own facility. More of the Ravens Wrap Show coming up. It is Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
What's going on?
We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out! It's terrible, man! There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
Welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle and the fine folks here at the Blue Ox, where we're broadcasting from the Ravens Room here, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Roos 44, give yourselves a hand once again. There you go. I want to thank our friends at Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and jctickets.net. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, Bobby Vermillion, and Todd Ferrante, right? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You got it right.
There you go, from Park Place Jewelers. And Todd's here to talk a little bit about, you've got a big event coming up next week. It's Guys Night Out. I like to hear that.
Wait a minute, before we get to Todd, we got rid of the Grinch.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we got Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We got our version of Santa Claus.
There you go, yeah.
To talk about the holiday season. John was not in the holiday spirit.
No. I tell you what, he's not on Ray Rice's Christmas card list, that's for sure.
He's a very angry man.
Very angry, High standards for John.
Yeah,
What's going on
actually, next Wednesday we have the Ravens cheerleaders at Park Place Jewelers in West Ocean City at the White Marlin Mall, and they'll be there to take photos with people. And we had a lot of women come out early in the year and make their wish list, especially Angela. She came out and made a big wish list. Bobby's in trouble.
But, deep in the pockets, Bobby.
Hey, believe me, I've seen her wish list before.
It's very long, Bob. You're going to be at my store for a long time. But anyway, we have the Ravens cheerleaders there, and we're also going to be giving away, we're going to be raffling off with a purchase tons of Ravens memorabilia. We're going to have helmets, we're going to have jerseys, we're going to have footballs and autographed pictures, and I threw a few tidbits to those Redskins and Steelers fans. Don't boo me out there, but I had to do that.
Hey, he's a businessman. I understand that, yeah.
So it'll be a great night, and we hope that all the guys will come out. It's going to be enjoyable. We have hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and everybody's going to have a fun time, and it'll be a good time. And we're going to auction off some of the upper prizes to my favorite charity, which is the Believe in Tomorrow Foundation, the Children's House by the Sea. So we're going to have a live auction there. We'll be doing that, so it's going to be a great time.
Now, tell us where you're located, because you have two locations, right on the
boardwalk. We have two locations. One on the
City.
boardwalk, one's in West Ocean City, right by the White Marlin Mall next to the Dollar Tree, and one's on the boardwalk over in Ocean City between 2nd and 3rd Street.
Yeah, I did a remote out at Park Place a few years ago, radio remote. Very impressed with your store out in West OC. So some good shopping, and of course, you got a lot of other places around there too. So it's a great opportunity to get what you need done and enjoy picking up some Ravens stuff and cheerleaders.
And guys, you can.
I'll tell you, the cheerleaders are worth.
Yeah, I mean that's where
I was at an event this past weekend, and they were absolutely great, and they were very personable, and your customers are going to love them.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it's just going to be a great time.
Steelers don't have cheerleaders, by the way.
I hope John will get out of his funk and come out and join us.
That's right.
Well, we may need to get him in the holiday spirit. You're right. What better event to get him back in the holiday spirit and get the Grinch out of him, right?
That's right. Well, guys, you can never go wrong with jewelry. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Todd will steer you the right way. He'll help you out if you're stumped a little bit what to get your loved one for Christmas, whether it's your mom, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. Todd will do a great job. He's got some great gift ideas, and as Mike alluded to, he's got a great store as well.
You've made Angela very happy.
I try.
He's got that 360-year 0% financing. It works every time.
Yeah. Well, Todd, tell us your thoughts just in general with the Ravens season so far.
Well, so far, I mean, I was at the first game. I'm a true Ravens fan, and I went to the first game. I actually saw John there. He was happy that day. And that first game, the way they beat the Steelers was incredible. And I tell you, it's I went to two great games because I went to the Jets game, which was the following game, the second after that game, and it was a great game too. But I think one of the things that frustrates me most of all is when we get into the red zone. I'm sure you guys have talked about it. How our inability to score in the red zone, and that's very, very frustrating.
We're good at field goals.
And to that point, John Harbaugh's talked about that quite a bit as well. I mean, he knows that they've got to get better in the red zone.
I think, hopefully they'll be peaking at the end of the season, and that's what the best we can hope for, and they'll be operating on all cylinders, and they'll just take it home. I mean, it wouldn't be anything better than to see Pittsburgh come to our house and to crush them for the third time of the year.
And that's a good point, too. Absolutely, yeah.
And we owe them from 2008, 2009 season.
But Todd's right in that, they aren't peaking yet. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that are coming together for the Ravens still. The Vontae Leach, Ray Rice thing is still a work in progress, and it's getting better. Lee Evans being in the offensive mix with an improved Torrey Smith and an accomplished Anquan Bolden.
That gets him in the slot where his natural
The offensive line starting to gel. You got guys subbing for Ray Lewis that have played well. Alan McClellan came in, serviceable job against a tough team in the San Francisco 49ers. So all those things are beginning. Danny Gore this past week. Right. I mean, he's played well all season.
Right.
He dropped a pick 6 against the Browns, but the fact that he was there to make. I think our guy, Film Study, Ken McCusick, on our website, that looks at all that stuff. He analyzes every game, the X's and O's guy. He said that Danny Gore has been thrown at 15 times and has actually defended the pass 10 times. 3 of which were only 2 completions in 15 attempts. That's pretty impressive for a guy that came pretty much walking off the street.
Well, I mean, kudos to the Ravens for picking him up. I bet the Cowboys would love to have him back based on what they've seen this year, and just adds more depth to that secondary, along with Jimmy Smith and of course Kerry Williams and Ladarius Weber having really good years. Hey, more to come as we talk Ravens Colts coming up. Also some more issues, playoff implications.
Colts.
We'll get to all that and more. Yeah, Ravens Drive Show, Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show, Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle. It is the Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show. Our friends here at the Blue Ox, where we're broadcasting from the beautiful Ravens Room here, 127th Street at Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Friends at Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. I'm going to memorize this before the last show. I won't even have to look down. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, Bobby Vermillion, and the Grinch, John Garrett, with us.
Welcome back, Grinch.
So,
I'm coming down.
Merry Christmas.
Guys, we're going to get into the preview of the game against the Colts coming up. What did you say?
I don't know, making stuff up.
You're coming to Whoville?
He's coming down to Whoville.
Coming down to Whoville, yeah. Stay away from the stadium on Sunday. I don't care where you're at. Whoville, Whatville, whatever. So, you know. Guys, the Ravens, we talk about controlling their own destiny. Tony, fill us in a little bit with playoff implications. As I understand it, if the Ravens, the Texans, the Patriots all win out, the Ravens, though, would have the #1 seed. Am I correct?
That is correct. The Ravens do control their own destiny no matter what anybody else does. If they win out and all those other teams win out, the Ravens are the #1 seed. And the reason being, strength of victory. Think about the teams the Ravens have beaten. They've beaten the Steelers. That strength of victory goes to 13-3 twice because they've beaten the Steelers twice. The San Francisco 49ers are now 10-2 as of this moment.
And playoff bound, yeah.
But they beat the Jets. And there's another team. They beat the Texans.
Yeah.
If they run the table, they're 13-3. So the strength of victory, the Ravens win out, and they're the #1 seed. And when you look at the Ravens at home, under John Harbaugh, 25-5. And think about this too.
And undefeated this year.
They're undefeated this year. 16 out of the last 17. I think 8 in a row. Going for 9 in a row this week against the Colts. And when you think about what they do at home, and how that crowd, and props to the Ravens 44 and all the fans that are out there going crazy at the games. The Ravens have had 27 sacks in 6 games at home this year. Last year with Greg Madison, the entire season they had 27 sacks. Right. I know he's a Michigan guy, Mike, but you know.
Actually, he's blitzing more with Michigan this year with a questionable secondary than he did with the Ravens.
So then he learned a lesson.
Yeah, I think he might have, yeah.
I think he's taking those Sheet energy drinks.
Whatever works, I'll take it. Michigan had a great year this year, and so I'm looking forward to the bowl game against Tech, Virginia Tech. But you're right with that. And we talked with Steve Bisciotti about that, and it's the fact that, the defense helped them win games last year, but you could also argue that they lost some games for us last year. But the fact that they were scoring points, especially early on, and obviously getting a lot more turnovers than they did. Again, Chuck Pagano, what can you say? Nice job. But to be fair to Madison, guys, he's got corners this year. He's got Williams. He's got Webb. He's got Smith coming off the bench, and Gore, who you talked about in a couple of segments ago. So.
And I just think that's Chuck Pagano's style as well. He has confidence in these guys. He showed that. A lot more press coverage this year. Ravens defense a lot more aggressive, I believe. I think you alluded to that. But I think the goal this year obviously was for the Ravens to win their division, and so important to get, as you alluded to, Tony, to get a home playoff game, if not 2. And if we become the #1 seed, it's going to bode well for us going down the line because obviously we're a good football team in M&T Bank Stadium. So, John, I think you would even agree with that. The Ravens need to get me the #1 seed so we can have home field advantage.
I don't know. Let's see.
That's why I want Ray Rice to be on the field for every play. Because if he is, the Ravens will win out, and we will have home field advantage, and we will be going to Indianapolis to hoist that trophy that was here after week 1.
And speaking of Indianapolis, obviously that's who we play.
We're going to have to put, like, pieces of wood on his dog, on Willie's head. It's just like the dog on the ranch. So your heart grows 10 times the size.
You know, guys, that is one downer this year, you know, as you look ahead. The Super Bowl's in Indianapolis. I mean, who wants to go to Indianapolis to watch a football game?
Yeah, but how sweet would it be to get a Super Bowl in?
No, it would be overpriced is what it would be for Indianapolis.
Wow.
And you know, I hate to see a Super Bowl in a dome as well. That kind of bummer a little bit. I know New Orleans is a big place, and inside that dome, and they host some Super Bowls. But I would say, you know, it needs to be in a warm weather place, especially outdoors. The fact that the Super Bowl is in it doesn't mean I don't want the Ravens to go, believe me. But, you know, the fact that it is in Indianapolis takes away a little bit, although it would be nice to win a Super Bowl.
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but I like the track that we're on.
All we need is a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah, right.
And we win.
It's possible. That's very possible. To your point, Tony, the Ravens since 2008, 25-5 at home. That's the second best record, just a game below New England and just above Atlanta, who's 24-6. Guys, we'll get more into the Colts game coming up next segment, but just to give you a quick preview, they're winless, just to let you know. But last week, all right, you know, here's a team that you could say to some extent has quit this year. I think there's been a lack of professionalism to a certain extent with the Colts, but I will give this to them. Last week, they are down 31-3 with 4:13 left in the third quarter. They come back and score not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They lose 31-24, but they didn't give up. They didn't quit. Dan Orlovsky, former UConn quarterback, he's bounced around the league a little bit. 30 of 37 for 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, New England's pass defense is pretty bad. Ours is 10 times better. But still, they didn't quit. We haven't beaten the Colts. Say what you want. They're winless, but we haven't beaten the Colts in a long time, since 2001. We'll get into it. I
got an inside scoop on that.
All right, well, we'll get into it next segment here. This is a Ravens Drive Show, Comcast Beach TV,
I do.
93.5 The Beach.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Clearly.
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
Looking for the plan.
Back in, it is the Ravens Drive Show on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street, Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravensers 44. Give yourselves a hand. All right, so the 9-3 Baltimore Ravens hosting the winless 0-12 Indianapolis Colts. Coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock, M&T Bank Stadium. Let's just run through real quickly. Kerry Collins was signed. in the offseason or right before the season started with Peyton Manning hanging out.
Excuse me.
Yeah, well, he got hurt early on. Curtis Painter, who was the backup, he started, but now Dan Orlovsky's taken over. He's bounced around from team to team, was with the Lions for a few years.
And by the way,
former UConn quarterback.
Bill Belichick has him on his fantasy team. That's why he scored all those touchdowns.
There you go. So Orlovsky, at limited time.
That's the inside scoop.
Okay. That's
I was dying to get out there.
All right.
You heard it here first.
So Orlovsky's bounced around. Yeah, he threw, they scored 3 times in the fourth quarter, as we said, against New England's backups. They didn't give up, but at least there's a little bit of tape for the Ravens to go on, but not a guy that's going to scare you. Running the ball, I will say this. The Colts, Donald Brown, DeLone Carter, Joseph Adai, all running back by committee, averaging over 4 yards a carry. And, they're 26th in the league running, but because their defense is so bad, they haven't been given as many opportunities. So that's something to look for with the running game. I'm not saying I'm worried about it, but just to let you know, running back by committee, they've done pretty well yards per carry. Wide receiver-wise, I still think it begins and ends with Reggie Wayne. He's second on the team with receptions. He's got 11 plays of 20 yards or more. He's got 52 catches. Pierre Garçon is a guy to watch out for. Austin Collie. Dallas Clark, I think, is out. You got Jacob Tammy, the fullback. And then defensively,
we should just talk about the Chargers.
Yeah, well, defensively, Mathis and Freeney, they have a combined 11 sacks. Those are guys you still have to watch out for.
Well, that's a good point, too. But you talk about Mathis and Freeney. Joe Flacco leads the NFL in fumbles.
Yes, he does.
That's the one thing. That's the only thing of concern I have in this game is if those guys go off the edges and they get the Flacco, if they stop the run, and, keep us in third and long situations. Because, the defense, the Colts defense has been a defense that played with a lead so many years in a row, and that allowed those guys to just pin back their ears and come off the edges. That's different now because Peyton Manning's not around. But now that they still have the same similar personnel, that same 5 under, 2 deep zones that Joe Flacco has struggled with and our offense has struggled with. So, granted, we should just pound the ball down their throats.
Yeah. But we haven't been able to block. We have not been able to block their front in years past because they're too quick for us.
Absolutely. That's the point I was going to make, Mike. If you look at the history, the Colts have basically owned us for years.
And it's been defensively.
Yes, defensively. They in the game where we won the division 13-3. Steve McNair was a quarterback. We lost 15-12 in the playoff game.
Still sits with me.
And we didn't score. They didn't score a touchdown. Peyton Manning doesn't score a touchdown.
15-6 was the final.
And we lose that game. And I think it does get back to we would think in this game be able to run the football, run the ball right down Indianapolis's defense, right down the heart, and have no problems, just like we did against the Browns. But history tells us that's not the case with the Colts. It'll be interesting to see if that happens this week in Baltimore with this team. If you get ahead early, again, a team that I think will quit. If the Ravens get ahead early, I think this is a team that'll pack it in. But you know what? They got nothing to lose. They've got a little ego, too. They want to win a game. They don't want to go 0-4 in 2010. No doubt about it. You've got a quarterback that's his second game as a starter. He's basically auditioning for a job right now. So he's going to play hard. And we'll see what happens. You can't I know you say look at the Chargers, but you can't overlook the Colts. And particularly if you're a Ravens fan, because history says that we struggle against the Colts.
Lost 8 in a row to the Colts.
Yeah. Haven't won since, I think, 2001. I will say this, though, different outside of Mathis and Freeney, different linebackers, different tackles. Hopefully this is a front John we can run against. But playing 7-on-7 in the box, that cover 2, you run the football against cover 2.
Yeah, this is really,
between the tackles.
Well, the only way you can really run the ball is if you have a running back in the game. So that's tip number 1. But truthfully, guys, this is at home. This is not the same Colts team that they've kind of lost their identity. Kinda is being nice. This team
they're crippled defensively. There's so many injuries.
They really are. This is a situation where we should dominate up front. We just take the will right out of them. We just got to go out there and impose our will physically, drive it down their throats and score, and it'll pretty much be over at that point. Being at home, we got to remember when the Dolphins, what were they, 0-13?
Yeah, the last time we played a winless team late in the season, we lost to the Dolphins. That was when Cam Cameron was our head coach, right in 2007. Bill explained.
That was a completely different team, though.
Right. Yeah. I know. We got to.
I had to bring that up.
Final score.
All right. Ravens win.
Okay. Go ahead, Bob.
I'm going 31-9 Ravens. I think Adam Vinatieri kicks 3 field goals.
Ravens 38, Colts 3.
Wow. Okay. Run it between the tackles against cover 2. We can throw the football. The difference, I think, against the Colts this year, though, is that, and against Cincinnati, too, against that cover 2, we've got vertical stretch wide receivers, not guys that run underneath.
Right.
So that's a huge difference. Teams, by the way, have been averaging 34 runs against the Colts a game. 30 passes is pretty balanced. That's going to do. I'll go with the Ravens 23-10. That's going to do it for us. For another Ravens Wrap Show, we'll be back next week here at Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. Go Ravens!
41-0.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.